What's up everyone, welcome to the VahanSolo show. My name is Vahan and today we're going to play bass guitar without really playing bass guitar. Mind blown, let's hop into it. So for today's episode, we are going to check out the Loki bass by Solemn Tones. It is a standalone MIDI bass plugin that doesn't require any other third-party plugin such as Contact. I've been using this bad boy for quite some time and I can vouch that it is an absolute beast of a plugin. But enough of my rambling, let me just show you how it sounds. Alright, so let's talk about this bad boy. Now I'm not going to go super in depth about the mixing, but I didn't really do much. Basic EQ, basic compression, as well as some reverbs and delays here and there on the leads. Other than that, pretty much it. But let's talk about Solemn Tones, let's talk about the Loki bass. Now, let's go ahead and point out some of the features that are on there. As soon as you open up, I was about to say app, but it's not an app, it's a plugin. As soon as you open up the plugin here, you have your lows, your mids, your highs right away, right? You have a drop-down menu with a couple of different options, as well as your crank, raw, and force, and your key switches. Now, first things first, this was all recorded with the Dingwall NG2 bass, and on top of that, the samples are as low as drop F. That's like low. So let's go over some of the features here. Up top, you have the drop-down menu. You have a couple different options. You have processed and clanky, raw DI, finger picking, Maxim's bass, and then obviously disabled. Processed and clanky is going to be your smoothest, kind of fits into your any everyday mix that you have. You just put it on and leave it, and it just does its job. In fact, this particular song, I just have it on processed and clanky, and I haven't even done anything to it. Normally, I would double the bass track, put a fuzz or a distorted track on one, and then kind of have the sub frequencies on another. But for this particular mix, I just left it on processed and clanky. I thought it sounded great, so yeah. And then next you have raw DI, which is just your DI track. It's exactly what the Dingwall NG2 bass would sound like DI'd. And you could put any of your favorite processors on it or reamp it through your favorite amp or pedal, whatever it is that you want to do. Then you have finger picking, which is just a gentle version of the bass. Honestly, this is good for anything if you're not doing metal, so there's that. Then you have Maxim's bass, and this one, I have not found myself using this one too much because it is really clanky. It's really, really heavy on the attack. Processed and clanky really fits in with any of your mixes, kind of ready to go. Whereas Maxim's bass, I have found that I need to really tame it and I just can't get it under control, but it's there for you, and that's another option as well. Then over here on your right, you have crank, raw, and force, and key switches. So if you hit crank, you're gonna have all of your velocities for your MIDI notes cranked, no pun intended, I guess, at 127. Next, you have raw, which is the one I typically like to use because I like to make any of my digital or in-the-box recording sound as realistic as it possibly can get. And raw in this particular case is just realistic sounding bass. So you're not gonna have us even playing, some of the alternate picking might be missing, so on and so forth. Then you have it in force. Now this one's a little bit tricky because what it does is it removes some of the sub and it replaces it with sine wave. This is honestly a technique that's used by producers a lot, and I haven't quite mastered it yet, but you pretty much tighten up a lot of your bass playing. Now, I haven't really messed around with it too much. Once I do, I'll give you guys an update on it. And then last but not least, you have key switches. Now if you hit this, you're gonna have where all the notes are on the MIDI keyboard in order for you to either alternate pick, down pick, up pick, mute pick. So for example, if we're gonna pull up the MIDI notes here for my bass track. So for this particular case, I want all of these notes to be mute picked because they're being played with the chugs. So I don't really want them to peak out too much. So I check where the key switch is for a mute pick, which is D sharp 0 or E0. I would go to that note on the MIDI keyboard, which is right here, and I would pretty much put a MIDI note right here, extend it for as long as the duration is for however long I want this mute pick to be going on, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Last but not least, you have the humanize option, and that pretty much just makes it sound more human or realistic. That's it. Now, this is not a sponsored video in any way. I just really love the product and I wanted to share it with everyone because, hey, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to make music in our bedrooms. So I'm gonna leave a link down below. Check it out if you want. Like I said, I love it and I use it all the time now. That being said, thank you for watching the VahanSolo Show. I hope this helped you in some way, shape, or form. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.